Hi, I'm Ernie Shamizi, and welcome to WVVH-TV's broadcast of the 30th Annual Folio Awards. And I'm with Jackie Clement, the Executive Director, the person who's in charge of all of this. And must be proud, Jackie. I know you work all year long for this great event.
We do. We work hard to put the event together, but it's the media that works all year round to put together stories that are important to the community. And what we do here today is we recognize the media that's not only done a good job in terms of journalistic work, but also putting out stories that are relevant to the community, the most important news that the public needs to know. And we're very proud of the fact that we bring together judges that are community leaders from all walks of life, who are the people that determine what news stories are the winners here today, and that's what really makes the event so special.
There's no other organization that I know of that equals what the Fair Media Council does. And today, in this bestowing of the prestigious Folio Award, you take a look at what media, and by media we mean all media, not just television, which always gets a lot of notoriety, but radio, and now you've broadened into the internet, online. And you look at what media is doing, and you question what media is doing. And often people don't do that, do they?
No, that's the problem, and we'll talk about that a bit today, is how radically the media landscape has changed, where it used to be, you know, you were loyal to one brand of news and you chose someone you trusted to give you the news. Now, because of technology and the way the media landscape has changed so dramatically, it's really important that we educate people to become news literate so that they understand that there's a variety of news sources out there, and they need to create a healthy diet of news into their life so that they're actually getting a variety of news from a variety of places, and they're not falling subject to particular agendas or news that may be politically motivated or advertiser-driven and all such things of that sort that are just cropping up these days.
Every year you attract the biggest names in the media. You've got a
such
number
as VVH-TV.
Well, VVH is proud to be part of this in our role as your broadcast station, and thank you for that opportunity.
Oh, we're thrilled to have you.
But I hear a couple of major names will be joining us today.
We do have a few folks you may know. Dan Rather is back again to keynote for us. We're thrilled about that. And this year joining us for the first time also keynoting is William F. Baker, who is an icon both in public television as well as commercial television. And Bill will be talking about how radically the news landscape has changed, where Dan Rather will talk a bit more about how important it is that people question the news that they're getting today.
The Fair Media Council is a membership organization for the benefit, and you're open to anyone?
We're open to businesses and nonprofit organizations anywhere in the New York area. What we do not allow are media outlets themselves, news organizations, to be members, because it's a conflict of interest for us. Technically, we're a media watchdog organization. We don't want to do anything that would conflict with our mission. We want to make sure we maintain clear avenues so that people don't question whether or not we're being fair with them. And that's very important for our success.
Well, Jackie, thank you for all of your dedication. This organization celebrating its 30th year under your stewardship. Now, you weren't here all.
I was 5. No, I wasn't.
Well, what you've done and what this organization has become. So, to our viewers, stay with us. This is going to be a great program, a lot to see. You'll learn a lot about media, and thanks again, and we look forward to being part of this in years to come.
Oh, thank you. We're thrilled to have Hamptons Television with us. Thank you.
The God Squad is represented here at the Folio Awards, and I'm with Monsignor Tom Hartman. Monsignor, thank you for being part of this Folio Awards presentation.
Well, the wonderful thing about the Folios is it unites Long Island and the city in a much closer way so that we can be responsible for each other. And as you can see from the number of people, particularly from the media and the business community, it's going to get better.
The media is something that's important to you. As the man who founded Telecare, you brought Long Island television into the homes of individuals, and the I won't say the Catholic point of view, because it's more than that. The God Squad is yourself and Rabbi. So what you've created, you must be very proud of Telecare.
Well, we're all very proud of telecare. One of the great things about telecare is it is interfaith. It's first, of course, it's a religious station, but what follows up after that is the mission and who will be in that community. And we have opened from the very first. We've opened certain things about religion that people didn't perceive or didn't know about.
Senior, you epitomize what it means to be a responsible part of the media, and you bring a lot of us along with you because you show us the way, and your dedication to the media and your standards of the media. But I don't expect anything less because I know you're from Montauk originally.
Well, there are few places in the Bible that talk about Jesus went and rested, and Moses went off to the side and used that time just to relax. And the important thing is that we all need prayer, we all need sacrifice, we all need faith, and we don't have to be perfect, but we have to stand in God's line and say, I'm with you. God has said that with us already. We responded not as consistently as God did, but God comes back and says, don't worry, I'll be with you, I'm going to watch you. And that's the way I like to live my life.
Thank you, Monsignor. Jackie, an indication of the importance of the Fair Media Council and our Folio Awards are these two guests that you're going to introduce to our viewers.
Yes, we are always happy to be able to bring these guys out to join us. Right next to me here is Lou Leone. He runs channels 5 and 9, which is a tremendous job to have, especially this day and age. But also next to him, we're welcoming for the first time to the Folio Awards Tom O'Brien, who recently took over at WNBC-TV. Actually, it's a year now that he took over. So we're thrilled to be able to welcome Tom out for the first time, and Lou's been a very good friend to us for many years now.
So between our group here, we've got 5, 9, 4, and 14 FIOS. So we've got a couple of numbers.
Yes.
This is an important organization, isn't it, Tom, for you? And your station, as Lou, has won this award many a time.
Yes, no, it's, Jackie was one of the first people I met coming to town, and, just learning about the work of the Fair Media Council and what they do, what they do out here has been really impressive, and was honored to get the invitation out here. I literally just missed it. I was coming to town. I came to town the Monday after the Folio Awards last year, so I was excited to be able to come out and show our support of everything that Jackie and her team here are doing.
Lou, this is a rare opportunity for people, our viewers, to meet the management behind the television station.
And I'm sure they're really impressed.
I think they're... Well, you're the guys to know if you have a resume that you're trying to get into your direction. It must be exceedingly challenging, exciting, but the responsibility of what you guys are in charge of is a massive one.
Well, this year especially, and I think our business in general is sort of under siege from competition, and the media in general has been television, radio, and the print business is very tough right now. We've lost a lot of support from advertisers. Our marketplace continues to shrink, so it's a very difficult time. And as you know, news costs money, and we want to do the best job we can. That's why I know all of our company, as well as our peers and our competitors, are looking for ways to do things more efficiently, and make sure that the news we don't sacrifice the quality and content of the news.
Local news, Jackie. Mexico City now is local news. Just to be able to handle this and to cover this, it's an awesome responsibility, isn't it?
Yes, and the good news for us is we have a great news organization behind us, not only with WNBC but also with the resources of NBC News. So when you look at something like the flu, as you mentioned, there's a story in Mexico City, but how does that make it back to New York? And we've got resources everywhere we need to be able to tell the story. And again, as we look here, again here in Long Island, and again just covering the region the way we should.
And Ernie, it's just very important for guys like Lou and Tom to come out to really meet the community and understand the people that make it up so that they get a much better understanding about what's really important to the people here, and for them to come out and spend the time and meet and greet the way they do. It's really a tribute to the community itself.
Well, today Jackie is, and her organization, the Folio Awards, is honoring you guys, but she's the lady who also holds your feet to the fire. So that criticism comes with the recognition.
Love. It's tough love.
No, and any criticism that Jackie levels against us is always fair and honest and well received. So it's a two-way street.
And to his credit, Lou is always very responsive.
Well, no criticism today. Congratulations to both of you and for the great stations you represent.
Thanks to Jackie.
Congratulations to the Fair Media Council and the work they do.
I'm joined by Jerry Kremer, who's the chairman of the Folio Luncheon Committee. Jerry, 17 years part of this Folio organization.
Well, hard labor, but for a good cause. Folio, of course, is the time when we honor outstanding works by television, radio, print media people for how they portray Long Island, how they view incidents that happen on Long Island. And if you didn't have this organization, you'd have to invent one quickly.
Jerry, there is no other organization like this one which holds media accountable for what they report.
Well, the fact of the matter is that we need more organizations that look at the media under a microscope, that tell the media when we think they've stepped over the line, tell the media when they've done a great job, and pat them on the back. And I think it's important. I mean, that's really what the First Amendment is all about, telling people what you think.
And in the 30 years that this organization, the Fair Media Council and the Folio Awards have been in existence, that it's broadened what the requirements are. It's not only radio, television, newspapers, but more than that these days.
Well, today we focus on the internet, as a means of people's communication, of which there's a lot. We're looking for all the different types of new media, if you will, because they are the future, and we want to hold dearly what we've got. We think we need the print media, we need the good television reporting, but we have to recognize that there are other ways that people communicate today.
Jerry, as someone who has a distinguished career in the media, you write, you appear on television, you've contributed to News 12 and other organizations. You're an attorney, you were a former part of the New York State Assembly.
Right.
What concerns you about the media today here in general? What worries you about where we're going?
Well, we all appreciate solid reporting, in whatever form it takes. What I worry about, and I think other people worry about, is people taking advantage, not always having the facts, making allegations or accusations that don't have any foundation, destroying careers unnecessarily. I mean, there has to be a limit in any type of media as to how far you go. And our concern is that if you don't have any watchdogs, and if you don't have any people looking over their shoulder, the media could go wild. I mean, it does wonderful things, and we appreciate it, but it still has to have somebody keeping a watchful eye on them.
Hi, everybody. How we doing? Everybody all right? All right, let's get a round of applause just to kind of get the blood flowing. And
yeah, why not?
That was it. That was the warm-up right there. Good afternoon, everyone. So great to see you here. I'm Jim Watkins from WPIX-11.
And I'm Kaity Tong, also from WPIX-11. Welcome to the Fair Media Council's 30th anniversary celebration and the Folio Awards luncheon.
30 years.
30 long years.
You know, as long as we're talking about anniversaries, I should mention right at the outset here something I'm very proud of with Kaity. We have now been at Channel 11. We've been weeknight co-anchors for 11 years. 11 years. Yeah.
Thank you. Let's get right to work. The Fair Media Council has grown to include more than 200 businesses and nonprofits, all of them recognizing that local news is vital to the health and well-being of Long Island communities.
Today we'd like to recognize some of the leaders who have enabled FMC to grow and prosper. With us on the dais today, Dr. Edward Giuliano from the New York Institute of Technology. Dr. Giuliano?
Wayne Grosset of Bethpage Federal Credit Union.
Where's Wayne?
I hope I pronounced your name correctly.
Dr. George Santiago Jr. from Briarcliff College. There we go.
And Ernie Bartol of the law firm of Murphy, Bartol, and O'Brien. We also want to add that the Fair Media Council is working with children to help them understand news and to help them to develop critical thinking and deductive reasoning skills. In exchange, the children are teaching us Twitter and sexting. He wrote that line.
More from Jackie on that later on. Today's event is being taped for broadcast by Hamptons Television. It is my pleasure now to introduce you to the chair of the Folio Luncheon Committee, Arthur Jerry Kremer. Mr. Kremer.
Very tall. Needless to say, I'd like to welcome all of you. I think this is my 20th year as chair of Folio. But I was here for the early years, too. I remember General Ulysses S. Grant, who was our keynote speaker, gave quite a speech, and many who followed after him. But it's really been a delight to watch this organization grow and prosper and take on so many responsibilities. But being this is an anniversary date, I'll share with you my favorite anniversary story about the fellow who was given a Mercedes convertible by his wife for their 50th wedding anniversary. And he took the convertible out on the New York State Thruway to see how fast it would go. And he got up to about 75 miles an hour and nobody bothered him. And he got up to about 85 and nobody bothered him. And he got up to about 90 and he noticed in his rearview mirror the flashing blue lights of somebody who was approaching him. And he got up to about 102 and then he said, you know, this is too daring for me. He pulled his beautiful Mercedes convertible to the right-hand side of the road. And out came one of those 6'11" state troopers with the smoky hat, and the driver brought the window down, and the trooper said, "Sir, it's the 3rd anniversary of my divorce. I just got a notice from the IRS I'm being audited, and my kids were out all night last night. I have no idea where they were. You better have a heck of an excuse for going 102 miles an hour." And the driver turned to the trooper and he said, "Sir, my wife left me 20 years ago for a state trooper, and I thought you were bringing her back." My job is to move the program along, and needless to say, thanks for your help and support. The glue that keeps this organization, the Fair Media Council, together is a vibrant, active, interested, dedicated, forward-thinking person, and I'm talking to Jackie Clement. And I'm pleased to introduce to you, as always, our leader, Jackie Clement.
The work of the Fair Media Council is unlike any organization in the country. And now at 30 years old, FMC's work is more relevant than ever, thanks to changes in the media landscape. The changes that have occurred in the news business are astounding. You know, when I was a little girl, I used to watch the news with my dad. He felt it was important to trust the person who delivered the news. And he was loyal to one brand of news for his entire life. And that brand was the CBS Evening News. First, it was anchored by Walter Cronkite. And then when Dan Rather took over, my father placed his trust entirely in Dan Rather's hands. And times have changed, and Dan Rather may well be the best source in the world to talk about what matters in news today. And you know that technology has dramatically changed the news. Now you can get news whenever you want it, delivered however you like it. Anybody can be a reporter. If you check out the blogosphere, you'll know just how willing Americans are to exercise their freedom of speech. But it used to be that news was just simply the news. Now we have news that's politically motivated or agenda-driven or straight-up paid-for propaganda. And the problem with all of this is that the onus is on the public to make sense of all the news that's out there and the information that's masquerading as news. You have to try to decipher what is credible and what's not. There's a lot of clutter and a lot of white noise that's happening out there right now. We have traditional news media outlets who are going bankrupt because they're losing audience and advertising dollars. And we have new forms of social media which are attracting audiences, but they can't figure out how to start to make money. And then we have issues like Cablevision taking over Newsday and creating a situation where one company dominates the news nearly 3 million people depend on. And the problem isn't Cablevision and the problem isn't Newsday. The problem is a situation that places too much power in the hands of too few people. Bill Baker is actually going to talk to you about the sea change that has taken place in the news industry. So what I want to talk to you about is really you and what the Fair Media Council can do for you. The common thread of everyone here is that we all want to know what's going on around us. And that's why we turn to the news. But now that news has gotten so complicated, it's become more and more apparent that the news consumer needs a place to turn for help. The reality is there's no reason you should really understand news. News literacy is not a standard in our education system, but it should be. And in fact, it needs to be. Recent history has seen the work of the Fair Media Council focus more heavily in the area of news literacy. And it makes perfect sense that we do. After all, who better to hold the news media accountable for what it publishes or broadcasts than an educated news consumer? Throughout the year, we focus on educating the public about the news and all of its forms. And by being here today, that's the work that you're supporting. We want you to make educated decisions about the news that you allow into your life, because the days of remaining true to one source of news are over. We like to say that at its best, news opens the door to the world. It educates, even inspires, and is the first step toward a solution, whatever the issue, wherever the town. But at its worst, news is the problem. Inaccurate coverage creates problems that don't really exist. A lack of coverage enables issues to escalate. When erroneous messages and perceptions are relayed to the public in the press, the news has the incredible ability to close your mind. And that's why we're committed to fighting for the best quality local news in the country. But in order to do that, we can't simply focus on critiquing the work of the news media. We need to educate you in all facets of news literacy. Right now, we have a 10-week program going on at PS24 in Flushing, Queens. Children in the 3rd to 5th grades are learning news literacy. And because they're the children of recent immigrants, we're also using the local news to get them to understand the community that is now their home. The news can teach so much more than current events. When I was in the 4th grade, my dad told me I could do anything I wanted with my life as long as I understood 2 things. I needed to understand business and I needed to understand how the world worked. He asked me to start reading the newspaper, and the newspaper he gave me was the Wall Street Journal. Most parents don't think to do that with their kids, especially when they're little, right? So I started reading the newspaper. And yes, it helped me with current events and to understand business, but it also helped my reading, my vocabulary skills. I learned how to write by following the style of a news story, and so much more. I grew up in Youngstown, Ohio, which is a steel town. And in places like that, schools don't really focus on academic achievement. You know, reading, writing, and arithmetic are kind of viewed as electives, more so than necessary learning. But I made up for the shortfall in my knowledge that I was getting through my education system, if you can call it that, by reading newspapers and watching the news. And the real reason it's so important to get to the kids and to teach them about news properly is that it needs to happen hand in hand when their critical thinking skills are developing. And that actually happens between the ages of 11 and 15. So your support of the Fair Media Council by being here today and joining us as a member of the organization supports these types of programs. We'd love to be able to offer more to the community, but we need your help to do that. We've come a long way from an organization that focused on the VHS television stations, and you've made that possible. We've simply responded to your wants and needs, and on behalf of the Fair Media Council Board of Directors, we intend to continue to find new ways to help you become media savvy, and we ask for your continued support with our programming, and we do thank you very much for being with us today. So thank you.